A day late, a buck short, but it's still getting done. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. Welcome to the Wise Guys Sports Show tonight, Sunday, May the 5th. I apologize that it actually still says May the 4th. We were supposed to go last night, ran into a little bit of an issue. Michael, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Not nearly as dizzy as I was a day ago. Still in some pain, but we'll get there, and the show must go on.
You shouldn't have been standing, dancing up on tables over at Zaxby's.
No, we went to that one on St. Simon's Brogan's, the one that's all Georgia flags all over the place, and I wanted to walk in wearing Buckeye gear and scream it was targeting, yeah. But then again, Jim.
I'm here so I won't get fined.
So,
Michael, do you know what episode it is?
Yes, I do.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
James, we are closer to 50 than we are to anything else. We should probably have grown up by now.
No. We're 69 episodes deep. We're coming up on 3 years of doing this. Shit, I just said it, didn't I?
Sentence. Hit the button. Hit the button. Hit the button. Holy shit. We're going to hell. Like, quickly. And God forbid the third one gets here, because then it's really going to be gone.
What comes after 69? Mouthwash.
Get out.
Explain that one to Bobby tomorrow morning.
Oh, yes, because I want my wife to scream at me for an entire day. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What number you want to wear?
69! Take the number 69! It's hilarious!
Does that never take you?
If he gets here, we're going to be playing all these back over.
Oh, my God. But, I mean, so I got to tell you, as I try to wipe my eye with my glasses on, dude, I am in such bad shape right now. Oh, my God. So, pretty eventful day today, James.
Oh, man. And if you think about it, not a whole lot happened today, but what did definitely was worthy.
Yes, it was. So, Jim, what do you say we get right to our hat trick and let's jump into the first topic of the night?
It's the three biggest topics in the world of sports from the last week. Get ready for the Wise Guys hat trick.
And for the first time since we were at Charles F. Brush High School, the Cleveland Cavaliers have won a playoff series with no one of the last name James on the roster. And
Hey.
What? Last name James.
Last name. Okay.
On the roster. By 18, they won by 12, so a 30-point second half turnaround, which really started about 5 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, they were Orlando was up 18 with 5:10 left to go in the second quarter, 47-29. The Cavs outscored them 77-47 the remaining 29 minutes and 10 seconds.
I mean, first of all, let's go back to game 6 for a minute before we get into today. LeBron who? What the fuck was Donovan Mitchell on?
Yeah, and it's just a shame that they had to waste that performance.
Now, hold on. In fairness to wasting that performance, as I told you, Mr. Creedys, who was supposed to be a guest last night, and unfortunately me not feeling well, he's back in Myrtle. A few more days on the beach for him. He had signed into his YouTube TV down here. We were watching the game on Friday night. I want to know why the referees are so terrible in sports this year. The play with Strus on the sideline, you're allowed to tap the dude and make him fall over and drop the ball, and that's an out of bounds play?
It's
Is that-
we'll talk about the officiating here for what I noticed in Game 7 today, as we kind of dissect this here a little bit. But yes, it was a wasted performance because he was the only Cavalier that scored over the final 14 minutes of that game.
No, I agree with you. That was a very LeBron-esque performance.
Yeah, but the difference is when LeBron went off for 48 against the Pistons, there were other guys that hit shots or hit free throws. Donovan, it was Donovan and nobody else.
No, I agree with you.
Friday night.
No, I agree with you. And I don't like to say wasted because they won the series. And yeah, it took them to 7 games, but we'll preview the next series a little bit coming up soon. So let's get to today. And the 2 best words in sports, Game 7. And I'd said to Nick on Friday night, I said, Orlando's not beating Cleveland in Game 7. It's not happening. It's not happening. And so the home team won all 7 games, won all 7 games, which is why you want that top seed, because you get Game 7 at home. And today, Donovan Mitchell was amazing. Again,
let's also we got to call it what it was. They played down to their opponent's level to close out the regular season, so they could get Orlando. And for a quarter and a half, it was biting them in the ass badly.
It really was. And I don't think they played down to their competitors' level to get Orlando. I think they played down to their competitors' level because they were tired and they were beat up.
No, they had a chance to go out and win the division on the final day of the regular season. They sat everyone and ended up going from, you were third, had a chance to go up to second, and then ended up dropping down to fourth because you wanted to sit some guys, knowing you were going to get at least 2 or 3 days off before the start of this series.
Okay, so I mean, and again, it worked out because they won the series. And yeah, it was touch and go. Because I started watching it. Bobby had fallen asleep. And I'm watching him going, I don't want to have to deal with him tonight if they lose this fucking game. You would have been almost uncontrollable.
I would have been scorched earth for 90 minutes of this show.
I don't need that much of a tan. Just saying. But I'm not peeling anymore. So there's that. Crikey. So let's talk about today's game a little bit more in depth. And I watched the entire second half once he fell asleep. And I will tell you this. Good God, Darius Garland was fucking terrible.
Yeah, if they would have lost this game, he could have cleaned out his locker because it would have been the last time he would have suited up for this team.
Which, again, yes, it was a horrible performance, but what's your answer? You don't have a high draft pick. You don't have a shit ton of cap space, and you got to re-sign Donovan Mitchell. What's your answer?
Yeah, but actually the money that you would save by moving him, you would end up getting something back. You'd get a couple of players back, for him, kind of like the haul that you got with Colin Sexton, and Garland's actually got an all-star under his belt.
That's true.
And the fact of draft picks don't mean anything anymore unless they're lottery picks.
No, I agree with you. How much of that salary would they have had to eat is my question. Because then that's like dead money when we're going to talk about what is going on with this thing tonight. Is my audio okay?
You're good.
All right, it keeps kicking the thing. I got to find the other cord for this thing. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting what they do in the offseason, whether they go past this round or not. But a huge win today. Max Strus had a couple of big threes. Donovan pulling up from Caitlin Clark fucking territory. And I love that I call it that now instead of Steph Curry, by the way.
To answer your question, Darius is making 36.7 this year. It's a 26% hit against the cap. His contract's even larger than Donovan's. and he doesn't become a free agent unrestricted until 2028. So you would have gotten a very good ransom if you would have moved him if they would have lost today, because he's only in the second year of that extension.
Okay, I forgot they signed him the extension before Donovan got there.
They've
You
got
know what?
13 million under the they're 58 million over the cap, but they're 13 million before hitting the cap of the luxury tax.
So yeah, they would have to get Jesus. Who would have thought a big spender in a league would be Cleveland?
Yeah, but here's the thing: that 58 million under over the cap, they're 15th in the league.
Well, yeah, no, I know, because there are teams that are just overly stupid starting out in Los Angeles. But listen, bring on Boston. What did they finish against the Celtics this year?
I want to say that they were 1-3. Where's the expanded standings?
1-2.
I know it wasn't good.
Oh, they were 1-2. They lost both games in Boston, and then you had the Dean Wade game. Weren't the Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fucking bullshit. Ready to murder, James. Ready to murder.
Red rum.
Red rum. So, Jim, what are your feelings going into Boston? Do you think this could be another one where they can sneak a win in Boston and get back to Cleveland, maybe take a lead in this series? Or are you anticipating us wrapping up the season after this series?
Yeah, the latter. This will be lucky to go 5.
Really?
Yes, it's. I think Boston is just far and away the best team in the East. I'm already starting to think ahead of a potential Boston Minnesota final. We'll talk about that in the second section of the hat trick. A little bit of foreshadowing here. But and there's well, then again, I don't want to say too much ahead about that, because we'll forecast that in the next section. But this team doesn't have a whole lot of height right now with their injuries, and you're going to have Tatum on Donovan, and then you're going to have Darius on Drew Holiday, and the rest of it's just going to be essentially a wash. If you get one, you're going to have to steal one at home to be able to send the series back to the Garden.
See, I think without Porzingis in the lineup, because he, as far as I read, he's done, right?
Potential, yeah, there's a very good chance he will not play this series.
So without Porzingis, look, the proof is in the pudding. Drew Holiday may be a proven playoff performer. You're talking about a guy who averaged 15 points a game in that run with Giannis a few years ago. Jaylen Brown seems to play the Titan up every time the lights are on. And that doesn't just include when LeBron was running through them to get to finals 6 years ago. He also did it in that finals against Golden State. So is he grown out of it? The Celtics have some question marks the Cavaliers can definitely take advantage of. The question is JB Pickle-Rickle going to be enough to smart enough to exploit it, or are we looking at Luke Walton being the next head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Yeah, that's the other thing I actually wanted to bring up, is that if they would have lost today, you would have seen heads roll basically by the time we woke up and the print was drying on the newspaper tomorrow morning. You would have seen JB let go. You would have basically started to see the rumors come around of which of the big four is going to get moved. Where's Donovan going to sign if he goes somewhere, or were they going to move one of the other three to be able to accommodate him? was Luke Walton going to be the next head coach in waiting, or was he going to be a casualty of the staff that he's on? It was not going to be pretty. So thankfully they woke up, and I definitely don't want to say they played rope-a-dope, but what I noticed from being there on Tuesday night for Game 5,
Jerk.
the end of the floor by the Cavs bench, where the Cavs were going in the third and fourth quarter, that's where the shots really seemed to fall a lot more often. So, for both teams, it's the Cavs actually did have a 10-point lead after the first quarter in Game 5 on Tuesday. But then they were getting absolutely smoked in the first quarter and a half today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely understand that they were having their issues on that end of the floor. Hey, I went to that little microphone that goes into the side of this thing. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I mean, the audio's a little off, but we'll make do.
Yeah, and it's because it's starting to go. But I think at halftime I'm going to look for the other cord to this and give that a shot. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, let's really think about. Everybody's got a favorite side of the arena. Everybody's got this. Look, the bottom line is this. I want to know where Orlando's interior defense went in the last two games, because Donovan set a record for most points in the paint in the history of the playoffs in Game 6.
And he nearly set an NBA record today, too.
What did he come up? 4 points short of passing AI?
Iverson had 90. Donovan finished with 89.
That's insanity. What the hell?
But before we close this segment out, can we just talk about the fact of how dangerous the Orlando Magic are going to be with another year under their belt? And Paolo Banchero is absolutely deserving of being the number one pick 3 years ago.
He really is. I had never really seen him play much. Where did he go to school?
Duke.
Yeah. So I had not really seen him play much. I can tell you that I don't want to see him play much now.
I will say this much: Jim Jones brought it up as the color analyst on the Cavaliers radio broadcast, because there's no way I was going to sit there and listen to Mike Breen for 3 hours. I think he's arguably one of the 2 or 3 worst basketball announcers I've ever heard. Banchero gets so many calls for ticky-tack or touch or anything. You can't and he gets Jordan-esque or LeBron-esque calls, but he's nowhere near that level yet.
He does get a lot of calls. I will say this, to call them LeBron-esque would be an affront to all the calls LeBron never got, because LeBron didn't get a lot. As some idiot goes, high talent. How's this now? Better?
Much better.
All right. Yeah, I have an adapter because this is the same USB-C that goes in for the charger. I have an adapter that goes from that to the regular USB, so I'm gonna have to use that from now on. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, he's very good. And Wagner is a whiner. Holy Christ.
Every time he was at the free throw line on Tuesday night, they would throw the Michigan logo up on the Jumbotron for people to boo that much louder. But here's me sitting like 20 feet from the floor going, hey!
You're an asshole.
I am an asshole.
But I respect it.
The guy behind me was screaming at him all night long.
If somebody would have played a Nazi march, it would have been funnier. I'm going to hell.
If we were doing this yesterday, we could have played a different kind of march, but nope.
Let's fucking do it anyway. He shows up, I have it queued, just so you know.
Great. Now that means I get to go edit the video to cut the audio before we get the copyright strike.
Have fun. We didn't get it last time we did it, did we?
I think they muted it, didn't it?
The bastards. Do you know John Williams' kid was the lead singer of Toto?
John Williams?
Yeah, the guy who wrote the Star Wars March.
Like, I would know that.
Everybody fucking knows that.
I've seen 30 minutes of one of the movies, and I never watched. And I played one of the video games, and that was it.
He wrote Indiana Jones. He wrote Star Wars. He wrote Jaws. He wrote fucking Jurassic Park. He wrote, dude.
I've seen one of those.
I'd say he wrote Harry Potter too, but
Again, I've seen one of those.
yeah. Just go to the next goddamn topic. Second rounds are set, everybody. We are now in runs here. Let's start with, obviously, we just talked about Cleveland, Boston. The Knicks and Indiana are going to rekindle that rivalry from the 90s.
That game will be tomorrow night.
There's a screenshot from earlier in the season of Spike Lee giving Reggie Miller a nasty look. Denver, Minnesota, which kicked off last night. Who does Anthony Edwards think he is? His illegitimate father
right now.
Does he think he's his illegitimate father?
He's the best player in the NBA right now.
I still got to go with the Joker, but that's just me. But he's insane.
He went into Joker's house, put up a massive performance, and stole game one.
He did. Let's see how Denver rebounds. The first really piece of adversity since what? First round last year?
Yeah.
Because they kind of coasted through the playoffs last year. OKC and Dallas. That's one I'm actually looking forward to be honest with you.
That one's going to be a lot of fun because Oklahoma City, everyone, SGA, a lot of people think is an elite player, and he absolutely is. But there's a lot of people that are still waiting. OKC, for a lot of people this year, is how they were thinking about Sacramento last year. Are they waiting on the other shoe to drop?
The difference is I think OKC is so young, they're just too stupid to realize what they're doing.
Exactly.
They have that mentality, which, by the way, in a playoff setting, that's a great mentality to have. Because now you don't have to worry about pressure of expectation. You don't have to worry about what you're supposed to do. You just go out and play. Kyrie was huge 2 nights ago. A huge game. 28 points in the second half to get them into the second round. But obviously we're vested in the Cavs Celtics series. But is that OKC Dallas one really the one people are going to look forward to the most, you think? Or is that more Denver, Minnesota? Because
I gotta think it's got to be Denver, Minnesota, because I think your winner of that series is going to come out of the West.
Yeah, and I could give a shit less about the fucking Knicks in Indiana. Although an Indiana-Cleveland Eastern Conference final would set the world on its ear.
Yeah, but out of those 4 matchups, what's the more surprising thing? The fact that Phoenix laid down, the Clippers with all of that talent went out, or the Cavs having to go to 7, or even without Giannis, Milwaukee couldn't get out of the first round over an Indiana team that hadn't been to the playoffs in 6 years.
Honestly, in no scenarios that it took the Cavs 7 games to get past Orlando.
Because after the first 2, you were thinking there's no way this game's coming back here for game 5.
Yeah, and I told you Orlando was going to get 1. Because you had said I could go to game 5, but I don't think it's going to get back here. I was like, yo, Orlando's getting 1 at home.
Yeah, then
we didn't anticipate him getting 2.
Yeah, then we had no idea that Orlando was going to basically win by a combined more than 50 points in the next 2.
This series was very reminiscent of that 16 finals where you had the home team, where we had the Cavs on their home floor dominate, which they did in games 3 and 6 in that one, get the doors blown off them, lose a close one, and then win in game 7. So it's like, it should have never gotten past Friday, to be very honest with you. But it is what it is. They're moving on. So let's get to your sport there, sir.
we've already got one of these games in the books, and you see that TBD on the end, that Dallas Vegas game. They just gone to the third period, and Dallas literally just got an early goal seconds ago to go up 2-1 in the third over the defending champion Knights.
Is Frank still mad at Pantera?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got that Florida-Boston rematch is going to be very intriguing, especially after Boston had to go to overtime in Game 7 last night to knock out the Leafs.
Yeah, and that New York Carolina one's going to be really good. The Rangers are playing really well.
Especially after New York got Game 1 earlier today.
Did they get? I thought that was earlier today. To be honest with you, when I told you I had Dallas and Vegas on before we went live, I thought the Rangers were tonight, and I was going to put them on while we were doing this. So, Jim, let me ask you same type of question, and I'm going to go from the looking forward to, because we really don't know who Colorado's getting yet, and we probably will know by the end of the show. But are you more interested in the Eastern Conference 2 matchups with Florida and Boston playing for the second year in a row, and Carolina and the Rangers really going at it? I don't remember them. They played in the playoffs against each other much.
I want to say that they played in the didn't they play in like a second round or a conference final just a couple of years ago?
Was that when the Rangers? Yeah, but that's when Lundqvist took them to the final against the Kings.
Yeah, that was 2016 though. 2014.
I don't remember the Rangers playing Carolina in the playoffs again after that.
But Carolina went out and got all of that great talent between the deadline and free agency, but the Rangers won the President's Trophy, and then you got the defending Eastern Conference champions going up against the Boston team that's there every single friggin' year somehow.
Yeah, and they're getting annoying.
That was the tweet that I put out yesterday, is that the last two times that the Boston Bruins held Game 7 on home ice, Brad the Rat Marchand ended the game crying at the bench. And one of those was my Blues winning the 2019 final. And then the other one was last year when Florida beat them in Game 7. And I said, now this year, we're all going to be left crying because one of those two insufferable fan bases was going to have to advance.
Yeah, but I would rather see Toronto than Boston.
Can we just make both of them lose and just give Florida an automatic bye into the conference finals?
I'm not against it.
That Vancouver Edmonton one.
I was going to say that looks interesting.
It's especially with that Vancouver starting goaltender Thatcher Demko did not play the last couple of games in their series, their opening round series against Nashville, but yet Edmonton's still rolling out the best player on the planet.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I will say this. If I had to pick one of those to go 7 games, it's going to be Florida and Boston. I think the Rangers win it in 5. Do they do 2-2, 1-1-1 like the NBA does, or they do 2-3-2?
I want to say it's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah, I got the Rangers in 5. They'll get back to the Garden and they'll finish that series off there to go to a conference final. Vancouver Edmonton's definitely going 7-2. Now I think about it.
It depends on what version of Edmonton's goaltender Stuart Skinner shows up, and yes, he does share the same name with the principal from The Simpsons. Yes, but whatever version of him shows up, is he going to be able to corral Jack Hughes, Brock Besser, all of those guys with that vaunted Vancouver lineup? And there's a reason why Vancouver finished at the top of the Western Conference. Colorado in either Dallas or Vegas, I think it's a wash. Dallas won that division. Vegas is the defending champions. I think right now it's Vancouver's to lose in the West. I'm not going to say whoever wins that Vancouver Edmonton series is going to come out of the West, but it's very hard. I'm very hard pressed to bet against the Canucks right now.
10-second hypothetical. The champs come back and win tonight. Can they get past Colorado?
I think anything's possible. Although you're going to see the NHL, if that were to happen, you're going to see the NHL make massive rule changes for next year, because here was Vegas, who uh, um, subserved the salary cap and had several players, including Captain Mark Stone, not play down the stretch, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, they're healthy in time for that series. Subvert. That's the name that's the word I was looking for.
It's a big word for Sunday night, dude.
So if you see the Knights come back and win this one, which in Dallas is tough, if you see them win and get that Colorado rematch from last year, you're going to see them. You're going to see the NHL put a lot of things in here saying, hey, you can't be putting guys on injured reserve and then activating them in time for the playoffs, especially when they carry massive salary cap issues like that.
You see, though, the slippery slope with that one is you're going to run into guys who are actually hurt, and it's like the NHL is saying, we're going to set how you rehab players. You can't do that.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of people clamoring for reconstruction of the salary cap rulings with things like that because of how over the cap Vegas has been the last 2 years. If Bill Daly, the NHL commissioner, assistant commissioner, I think, had any kind of stones and they would have actually put something like that in, Vegas doesn't get out of the first round last year.
Okay. They did it last year too?
Yeah, just because of how off hilts Vegas is with the cap.
Okay, I got you. What, do you take less of a salary cap hit if a guy's on IR?
Something like that.
Maybe that's
Vegas is 14 million over the cap.
Okay.
They have the second highest payroll in all of the NHL, and they have the second largest cap deficit of the NHL, of any team in the NHL.
Jeez, well, I just flipped it on, and now they're starting to slap people around. The hitting's getting bigger as the third period gets moving. 12:28 left to go. Dallas is clearing the zone, and they got a breakaway. Need a save here. Nice play.
The only team in the NHL that has a larger cap hit than the Vegas Golden Knights is Philly, who is Philly has a larger payroll by $2 million. And where's the cap space number that I want? So according to what I just said, with all of their players, the Knights are 14 million under the cap, but because of how guys are sitting on injured reserve right now, they're 2 million under the cap with the way that they subvert it.
Okay, so basically the salaries don't count against the cap if they're on injured reserve.
Correct.
Okay.
So they will put guys on injured reserve just to be able to save cap space, to be able to get guys into the lineup for the night.
Gotcha. That's bullshit. If you had to guess right now with what you know, with Dallas leading 2-1 in the third period and those other matchups, who do you like going into the conference finals?
I got to go Vancouver. I like Dallas, even though this series has gone long, just because of how talented Vegas is, and it's always harder to knock out the defending champs. I like Vancouver and Dallas. And then I like the Rangers and I like Florida.
Okay. I would agree with you, other than I will say this. I think we're going to get in both leagues a New York-Boston conference final. I don't think Indiana's going to beat the Knicks as much as it makes me want to vomit. And I don't think, for some reason, I think Boston's just going to sneak past Florida this time. And then we're going to see the Bruins and Rangers in the NHL, and we're going to see the Celtics and Knicks in the NBA.
Steve Dangle brought this up when I watched LFR today, his Leafs fan reaction, his closing thoughts, that the Bruins goaltender, Jeremy Swayman, could have been a Toronto Maple Leaf when he was drafted, but the Leafs went with a different goaltender, and the Bruins picked him right behind them, and then the Bruins ended up using Swayman to knock the Leafs out last night. And the
Funny how
goaltender
that works.
and the goaltender that Toronto ended up picking played 3 years after getting drafted and then had to retire only after playing only 7 games with the Leafs because of injuries.
Jesus. Yeah, but drafts are a crapshoot, dude. We did a reaction to the NFL draft last week, which I really want to get into that conversation with you at some point in time. Not now, obviously, but we'll move on from there. So, yeah, listen, it's going to be an eventful couple weeks, and we haven't talked any baseball yet, which is getting interesting.
Same question while we got 20 seconds here. What do you think about the West in the NBA? Where do you like that going?
I think we're going to get the two young teams. I think it's going to be OKC and Minnesota in the conference final. If SGA can basically cancel out Ant, I like OKC to go to a final.
Even with Gobert and Cat in the front court there, and also remember you got Mike Conley on that team, even though he's 904 years old.
I trust Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert as far as I can throw them, and the way I feel right now, I'm not getting them off the ground. This is Ant's team, which is scary because Cat, I think, is a more talented player, but Ant just seems to be doing the job.
And that's why I think a lot of people are starting to hop on that Timberwolf bandwagon. Is because Jokic has never really had this before. He's never gone up against a front court that can bang with him night in and night out. And I'm not just talking guys that roll in off the bench, collect 4 fouls, sit down, and don't really do a whole lot and just keep sending him the free throw line. You've got a former defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. And you've also got a former first team All NBA player in Karl Anthony Towns. Both guys can bang. Both guys are great defensively. And even though Jokic has got 2 and should have had 3 MVPs, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep that up for 6 games.
With no help, like he got Friday night, no, he's not going to be able to keep it up.
Because Aaron Gordon's not going to be able to bang. Aaron Gordon's not the kind of player to bang like he can.
No, and Jamal Murray better play in this series like he did against the friggin' Lakers, or they're done. Jokic needs help. And no offense to Aaron Gordon, he's not a dynamic scorer. So they need someone else to do that. And Jamal Murray did against the Lakers. It's time for him to step up now. You can't just beat an old broken down Laker team. You got to be able to beat a good team.
Which is why the play-in is so fun, is because you actually saw the Lakers win a game, get into the playoffs, and then just get exposed.
It's not exposed when you're not as good as people think you are. And anybody who followed the Lakers that didn't get blocked out by the names knew this was a very, very flawed roster. Darvin Ham was a sacrificial lamb because who's the GM there? Kobe's old agent. What the hell is his name?
Mitch Kupchak?
No.
Rob Pelinka.
Pelinka didn't know how to put a roster together. He didn't. That's the problem. Pelinka's roster is terrible.
And yet what's funny is they've got Yankees syndrome, is that you're never going to see them start rattling off all those championships and everything, because nobody's going to want to really, LeBron's on his way out. He's going to basically leave scorched earth when he goes, and even though it's Anthony Davis's team, Anthony Davis is starting to get up there. he's got a really, really bad bloated contract, and you're not going to be able to put together enough of a roster that's going to challenge Joker or the big three in Minnesota or Oklahoma City. So at the very, very best, you're the fourth best team in that conference, and you've also got San Antonio on the come up. Utah is going to be much more improved with a couple more draft picks in there. Golden State, their time is basically over. And then who knows what you got with the Clippers? Are you going to be able to squeeze one more good year out of that core?
I think the Clippers are done. I think the Lakers are done.
I just feel bad for Steve Ballmer because he had everything going with him after landing Harden in the trade, and now they get the new uniforms, they move into the new building, and they're the fourth best team in California right now, probably behind the Kings.
Yeah, probably. What's number 3 there, sir? Oh, good. Thank Christ. As MLB finally addresses the uniform issues. Now, I will say this. Holy shit, Tampa's uniforms are ugly. They wore them all 3 games against the Mets.
Third, yeah.
The Mets ones, again, they're not terrible. The helmets are really nice, by the way.
Did you listen to what I sent you the other day? From
which
Overman?
No, I have not had a chance yet.
He brought up a very good point, is that when they're playing night games in those, with the way that because it's embossed, when the light hits it and the fact that it's embossed on that mat, it gets reflected. So the Mets, so that even as good as that hat looks, the batting helmet makes it look like they're wearing tiaras.
It's because it's the matte finish and it's raised. It does. They need a foot in their ass, not a tiara the way they're playing. So what have we heard what changes are going to make for the second half of this year?
They did say, hang on one second as I'm actually trying to get the god-awful logo pulled up. And as always, this image will be courtesy of sportslogos.net. What is the fascination with going like black on black and a very, very mild trim on that? Your Mets did it, and
do you know? Do you know what the uniforms were inspired by?
Skateboarding.
The deck of a skateboard. Are you fucking serious? I didn't know Tony Hawk owned part of this team. Is this why we're doing this?
I mean, the logo on the cap.
Well, that's the Devil Ray.
Right.
So I get that. But, I mean, if you want to be true to Tampa, they got a red light district like you wouldn't believe. Do something with a stripper pole, for Christ's sake. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it is episode 69, James.
What number you want to wear?
69! Take the number 69! It's hilarious!
Send or take it.
I got a headache from doing the Anthony Bowens. Thank God I'm going to bed right after the show.
It's you and me both, dude. But yeah, these are god awful. And again, they swept the Mets. Not that the Mets aren't god awful either, but they're ugly. The Philly ones are god awful.
According to Chris Creamer, the author of sportslogos.net, one of my 3 or 4 routine favorite sites outside of like ESPN and shit. Major League Baseball and Nike today announced that they will fix some of the problems with new uniforms introduced for the 2024 season. I'll just throw it up here and we can have story time with Adam Cole, baby. The decision follows feedback from players and clubs in the months of fan and media complaints, which pointed to several areas needing improvement. Starting in 2025, the jerseys will feature larger lettering on the back, making player names easier to read and more in line with the traditional look of names. Players will also have the option to customize their pants more for a better fit and comfort. Nike will also address color mismatches and other discoloration issues that were more noticeable in the gray road uniforms. The updated gray uniforms could make their first on-field appearances as early as the second half of this season. So you can actually see the one on the left is the older style, and then the curvature on the one on the right is the 2025 style. So they're going to go back to the 2023 designing for the lettering. And it's going to be larger, because if you look at just the Guardians logos, David Fry has 3 letters in his name, and it's curved, and they're small, and it's almost impossible to pick it up off of his jersey.
Yeah, the Mets ones, I noticed that on the regular ones. Now, the City Edition ones aren't that bad. The lettering is basically last year's lettering. But no, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
Creamer continues. The initial launch of uniforms, new uniforms in 2024 saw a wave of criticism from players and fans, mostly about the small lettering of names, the fit, and the perceived transparency of the pants and general overall material quality. While it seems like many of the problems are being addressed today, there was nothing in the announcement about returning to the embroidered style of sleeve patches or word marks. Quote, player and club feedback is extremely important to us, end quote, said Robert D. Manfred Jr., Commissioner of Baseball, in the press release. Quote, together with Nike, we listen to our players, and as a result, we are addressing their concerns, end quote. Manfred emphasized the league's commitment to a continuous improvement, saying, quote, we will continue to work with Nike to make adjustments with the goal of delivering a uniform that looks good and helps MLB players perform at their best, end quote. This feels like the most realistic rollback of the changes we could expect to see. There was never going to be a total trashing of the new style, not with all the existing products sitting there. Now, the other aspect is that this completely absolves Fanatics of all of these mistakes, because they're only going with basically Nike's designs when it's being manufactured, which actually kind of, if you're a hockey fan like myself, gives you a lot of, you're a little bit more hopeful than you were, say, 6 months ago when they announced that Fanatics was going to be the official NHL on ice jersey supplier and uniform supplier next year, when the contract with Adidas runs out at the end of this year.
Yeah, no, Fanatics is normally, I mean, this.
It worked for about a half a second.
This piece of shit.
There it goes.
So I like them. Seriously?
It's back now. You're good.
God damn it.
What is it? The cord, the port, or what?
I think it's the cord. So I gotta dig out the other one. I might just go back to the other plug-in for the second half of the show. Yeah, Fanatics usually pretty good. So I didn't think it was Fanatics' issue. Nike having issues doesn't shock me one fucking bit.
No, considering they basically, every sport that they've touched, they've ruined.
No, because they do have the sponsorship for a lot of colleges, and they did like to stay pretty traditional, other than Oregon, which has 88 different uniforms to like warm up in. That's different. But Nike's been Ohio State's for forever. and you still have the traditional scarlet and gray, and then the road whites with the gray pants. They do have some alternates, the black on black, the snow whites, the all grays, but they're not horrendous. Oregon's were horrendous. But yeah, this year you knew this was Nike. You knew this wasn't Fanatics. The fact that they went away from Majestic is friggin' stupid anyway.
Yeah, that's also Nike is the primary reason why I will not buy even a replica jersey at this point. I mean, every jersey I have in that closet is either starter if it's like from 25 years ago, but anything recent, like my two Blues jerseys, my Sabres jersey, that's Fanatics, that's Adidas because it's an authentic. I want to get a Kings jersey. I want to get that new Lightning third before too long, but those are all Fanatics, and they're so damn comfortable, and they're relatively decently priced, but Nike I will not go near it.
Well, I can unless it's a special one because they don't do the big and tall sizes.
Right.
I mean, yes, my Denzel Ward is big and tall, but you can't get the new one. The newer Browns one that way. You can't get the newer Jets one that way. As yes, I've looked for a Jets jersey too, but that was for a Garrett Wilson because he went to Ohio State. Nike bothers me because first of all, they ignore a big portion of sport fans without having the big and tall. They ignore a big portion of sports fans by just being god awful fucking stupid. And I have zero hope.
Alienate 30% of their audience without pricing everything.
Exactly. They're not the company that had to woo people to come to them. They're the one everybody wants now, so they throw the money up. And
I think we talked about it last week or the week before when we did the extended thread count, was that especially with the NFL, now that they're starting to actually come out with some of these alternates now, and now you've got the City Connects. It's like, who's actually buying these City Connects? Just you're basically, people in the inner city are not going to wear these jerseys because, number one, they can't afford them. Number two, they're just god awful to look at.
Yes.
And number three, that they don't really care about the lore that's kind of attached to it, where and those aren't the kind of people that are going to baseball games. I hate to bring that argument up again,
No.
but I will. It's, with the NBA, a lot of inner city fans are going to games. They may actually buy some of these swingman jerseys that are a lot lower priced, so to speak, or some of these Jumpman jerseys. They might be going to like DH Gate to get them, which, if you're going to buy one of these Nike atrocities, is the way that you go.
Yeah.
But, the NHL keeps it simple because they know it's a long sleeve jersey and it's a heavyweight jersey. So you're not going to have 25 different designs. In base, but we talked about baseball. Football is starting to get into it a little bit, but they still kind of keep it simple because they may change logos or they may change uniforms, but fundamentally they still keep just really two sets and then just change up the the combinations of them,
which is really a smarter way to go.
Right.
I just don't get it, Jim. I really don't. It makes my head hurt, and everything's making my head hurt these days. So whatever. I don't understand, and it's not so much I understand it's money. I get that it's money. And you're absolutely right about especially baseball jerseys. My baseball jerseys I wear I have Mets white. It's an on-field. I found it in big and tall size at a closeout store. But I have the white pinstripe on field. I have the blue alternate. I have the black alternate. In the black alternate I had when Piazza was still here. So I got that a while ago. I have no desire to buy a new Mets jersey. I have 3. I don't need more than that. I got 2 football jerseys and I got this. The only thing I think I'd get other than this is I got to find a Buckeye jersey in my size, but because it's fucking Nike, I can't. And no disrespect to Eddie George or anybody else, I don't want to wear a friggin' throwback.
Did you see the video of George Kittle attending a Predators game last week, a Predators playoff game?
I like the one with Taylor Lewan's daughter chugging water after her father chugged a beer.
George Kittle is sitting right up on the glass in the corner for the Predators connects, and he literally stands up and he turns around and there's Eddie George right behind him.
I saw that.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
And especially Kittle knowing exactly, following the action.
Yeah, Kittle was into the game. 40 seconds left. It looks like Vegas has pulled their goalie. And big save. Yep, Vegas pulled the goalie. 29.4 left. Got a face-off in front of the Dallas net. You want to wait to hit halftime until this is over?
Yeah, for what you figure you might get one whistle.
Yeah, there's 29.4 left. Again, Dallas with the extra man, or Vegas with the extra man on. I'm watching on TBS because with YouTube TV, it's TBS. I get the Bleacher Report or the True TV one, and since I'm not listening, I don't really think it matters. Nope, they're going to the benches. Hold on.
And Dallas, with their scoring tonight, Wyatt Johnson gets his 4th of the series at 14:34 into the first period, and then Radek Faksa, of all people, 44 seconds into the third, and could that be the one that's going to make this one hold up? As I'm looking at the ESPN StatCast, shots are 24-21 in favor of Dallas. Each team has only taken one minor penalty, and the face-offs are 50-50, split right down the middle.
Yeah, this has been as clean a game that I've paid any attention to all year.
And I also take back what I said earlier. Dallas finished atop the West at 113 points. Vancouver was actually 3rd because Winnipeg was 110, and Winnipeg got bounced in 5 by Colorado. And Vancouver came in. Vancouver won the Pacific Division at 109. 5 points clear of Edmonton.
Here's the face-off. Vegas wins a face-off, retains in Dallas's end. And Dallas cleared. Vegas rebounds. Going back in, got 14 seconds left. Ooh, tipped shot. Vegas clears out to the point. One-timer. Stave. 2, 1. Dallas wins in 7, if you didn't hear me, because the damn mic gave out again.
Yep. So we've now got a Dallas-Colorado series, and those two teams do not like each other. But more importantly, fuck Jack Eichel, you go home. And we will have a brand new Stanley Cup champion.
Yes, we will. And speaking of things that will be going on, we're going to head to halftime. We got a good amount in the blast to get through tonight, but we are going to try and keep it to as close to, we'll say 100 minutes that we can, because we're tired and it's a school night.
Yep.
So we will see you guys in 8 minutes.
If not sooner.
See you in a minute. And welcome back.
Tomorrow's frame subsumed, so I'm all set for tomorrow on Warframe, so I'm all good to go.
Well, I mean, priorities, James.
Yeah.
So we got the blast coming. What's in it, James? Aha, the Derby. Let's start there because I actually watched it. Very interesting. I had picked the number 17 horse whose jockey wore blue and orange. Shocker. And yeah, kind of shit the bed.
I don't watch a minute of horse racing. I couldn't tell you anything about it. It's like watching the America's Cup. It's, you'll never own one. You'll never, you'll basically bet on one of them and hope that it hits. I don't know how to handicap. I'd rather take my chances with FanDuel, and I won't even touch that.
Well, I will say this. When you have a 3-year-old who likes horses and there is a race of 20 of them on television, it's going to be on.
Horses, 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 horses.
Exactly. But I tell you what, the ending was very exciting.
I heard it. I heard about the photo finish.
Literally by the flared nostril. So congratulations to the winner, who, by the way, became the first team since 2009, trainer and jockey, to win both the Kentucky Oaks, which is the female race, and the Kentucky Derby, which is the male race.
Although I read there's a chance that they may not run in the Preakness, which actually means no Triple Crown.
Yeah, and the thing is, I guess they ran him last year, 2 weeks after winning a race, and it was an absolute shit show. So they're going back. They're from Saratoga, New York, which, by the way, did you know this? Because Belmont Park's being redone, the Belmont is actually at Saratoga for the next 3 years.
Bucky Buchanan from Saratoga.
Oh, I found the other cord, by the way.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. I thought that was pretty cool though. Having been to Saratoga a bunch with living in the area, I thought that was pretty cool that the Triple Crown is going to be in upstate New York there, as opposed to Long Island, which, again, not that I'm against it. I just happen to like upstate better. Just personally. So let's talk about the Twins real quick. 12 in a row. Not an easy thing to do. What's their lead in the Central?
The Guardians now, it's at 2 after the Twins had that streak snap today. It's actually technically 2.5.
Okay. So the Cardinals,
as the Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Twins this week, from the Angels this weekend.
Can I just say, speaking of the Angels, who did Mike Trout hurt in a past life?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting asinine. I'm not wrong, am I?
You cannot fault him at all for breaking down the way that he did. Although 12 in a row for the Twins, very impressive. They went from, I want to say, 6 or 7 below 500 to now 5 games above 500. They were 8 games out, and like the only team that they were better than at that point were the White Sox. They've now got themselves 5 games over 500. But if you look at it, that 12-game streak was home to the White Sox, at the Angels, at the White Sox, home to the and then took the first 2 at home against the Red Sox. It's not like it's a murderer's row, but you definitely win the teams. You win the games with the teams that are in front of you. But those are 3 pretty bad teams.
Yeah, to pull the White Sox, especially in a non-19 game against your division schedule, that quickly. I mean, you're not going to have the White Sox second half of the year now, basically. So, listen, hats off to them, though. 12 in a row is 12 in a row. It's not easy to do because, you're supposed to have your number one pitcher going and he gets the shit beat out of him. It happens. So there's – and that Twins team is loaded. But they're loaded in the right way, if you know what I mean. They're very deep. Their pitching is sound. Their defense has been very good. Carlos Correa is actually playing well. Did they lose Buxton to the IL?
I believe so, and also I know that the Gardos lost Stephen Kwan to the injured list for about a week. So
Yeah, because Manzardo's up.
right.
Speaking of baseball, can I just say, did you happen to see what happened last night in Tampa with the Mets?
With the dive that was missed,
No.
was that today?
That was today.
Okay. No,
Last night, Christian Scott, the Mets' number one pitching prospect, made his major league debut. He gave up 3 consecutive hits, a single, a double, and a single. Tampa ties the game. From that moment on, he set down 14 in a row. He struck out 7, having literally the 4th best major league debut in Mets history.
I was starting to hear something about that because I was watching anime on Netflix.
Random.
As much Warframe as I played, like there's a lot of their stuff is anime themed, and they just added a classic anime called JJK Jujutsu Kaisen to Netflix, and it's only 26 episodes, and I binged the first 4 last night. If we get done early enough, I might actually do another episode or 2 before the melatonin kicks in. But I saw something about that. I was just too goddamn tired to finish it.
He lasted longer in his debut start than Dwight Gooden and Tom Seaver. He struck out as many batters as all 3 of them, and the third one being Jacob deGrom, who in his first start went 7 innings of 1-run ball against the Yankees. So I got one of these, and he's a kid from Florida who made his major league debut in Tampa. So, hats off to him. Great. Having Nick down here, I was able to watch it. It was the Fox game of the week last night. I'll be able to watch him play Atlanta on Saturday too.
And I got to do one of these as well. Aaron Judge getting tossed out for the first game of his career, justifiably so, because you cannot argue balls and strikes, especially on a third. It's the rule.
Well, what cracks me up is on SportsCenter, they said, hey, and Aaron got tossed in New York. Not the one you're thinking of. And did you see what happened to him in Milwaukee?
Somewhat.
He slid and had his hand up in the air like this.
Oh, yes, I did see that. And you're going to
How
see
much-
them make a rule change with that definitely very soon.
And you have to. Because if you're going to play the protection game, I get it. You can't hurt a guy on a slide. These guys are still got to be able to turn double plays.
And I'm actually surprised that they did not call that for interference.
It's technically not illegal. It was a slide. He just happens to slide with his hands up. And if you see him, he slides with his hands up all the time. The 86 Mets had a way to get around that. Low bridge the throw.
Yeah, I'm actually just shocked that he didn't get one in his ear hole the next time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what the Met infield used to do in their cocaine-fueled rages. They would low bridge a throw and go right over somebody's head. That's why the Cardinals used to call them pond scums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was that there. I mean, baseball's been interesting this year. Yo, the Dodgers just dismantled Atlanta this weekend. And did you see what Ellie De La Cruz is on pace for? 45-90.
Wow. In his second big league year.
He hit an inside the park home run. He went 14.96 around the bases. I don't drive that fast. I can do it in 14.96 minutes.
Did you see the new momentum video for the week?
I have not seen the new momentum video for the week.
It was all 5 of them behind the plate calling balls and strikes against actual major league pitchers.
Really?
Yeah. And trying to see if they could keep up with the MLB average.
I'm sure they did.
Marika was surprisingly good.
Well, she's she's surprisingly good. And again, that's not.
Have you seen Silent Library 2 yet?
I've watched bits and pieces.
Did you see where she put the wax strip on Sim's leg?
I love the episode, the shorts where Bauer has to. It's a bingo card. The one where he tells him what's coming and he still can't hit it. That's why you're the king of JUCO, Sim, and not the king of the minor leagues.
The one that I always go back to with them anymore is Sim against Bowens, but after he takes one of the moves, they go Kevin's throwing him the smelling salts from the second deck and it hits him right in the nuts.
Yeah.
And Marika's standing right there. Marika and Kristen.
And she's laughing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be laughing too.
Yeah, but poor Kristen, she got hit with a cast iron skillet. She got hit with a trash can. Tosh bashed her in the legs with the bat on the Silent Library.
Oh.
Well, it was a wiffle ball bat. They were actually they had to run around. Tosh was blindfolded, and he had to run around for the other three who had squeaky rubber chickens taped to their shoes and were actually running around with pain harmonicas. And she was trying to follow around with the camera, and Tosh ended up getting hurt twice.
I've got to watch this.
Yep.
So let's get to the final topic in the blast tonight, and that is the Dolphins' busy week. No one cares.
They take a little over a week ago, they take Chop Robinson in the NFL draft. They signed Odell Beckham Jr. yesterday, and now there's also talks of them working on a contract extension for Tua, but there's no guarantee that it's going to get done by the end of the season. They actually said that they've got 3 months that they'd like to get it done before camp breaks, but they don't know if it's going to happen.
Here's my question. What more do the Miami fucking Dolphins need to see that he is not a good quarterback against good teams? What more do they need to see, Jim?
So did you see the meme that they actually said after they signed Beckham that, it was Reek, Tua, and Beckham, and they said, who's going to stop this offense? And the caption said, any temperature under 70 degrees.
I'm sorry. I can't. I can't buy in. And I hate sounding like this, but I was right about the guy. He plays against competition who can play with the team around him, and he's no good.
Although the ironic thing is that they could end up backing themselves into a division championship because Josh Allen has nobody to throw to. You have no idea how the old man in green in green and white is going to rebound, if he's even going to be able to at all. And if he goes down, they have no backup plan. And the Patriots are running out a rookie for the second time in 4 years.
Can we jump back to the Jets and talk about them taking the most important player in college football from last year late in the draft? They took Jordan Travis, the quarterback from Florida State, who is rehabbing that leg injury. But again, we said it last winter, the most important player in college football, because without him, his undefeated conference champion did not go to the playoff. He's a kid from Florida State.
I get that, but
I will say this. If he ends up being anything for as late as they got him, Joe Douglas is a genius. An absolute genius.
You would think so, but I mean, it's definitely a wait and see, because you've got a 40-year-old quarterback coming off of an ACL who's never going to give up, no matter how bad he plays. So they sink or swim with him. More than likely going to sink rather than swim. You've got the weapons around him, and then your backup is coming off of a massive leg injury of his own.
I don't think he's going to be the backup. I think he'll be the third stringer. I don't know who their backup is. I really don't care. It just, to me, it's more, could they have just found, I mean, let's be honest, Jim, before he got hurt, he was going to win the Heisman.
Their backup is Tyrod Taylor, who's like, probably as old as you and I.
Tyrod's not that old. He's younger than Rodgers.
It doesn't take much.
Oh. All right, while we're on old quarterbacks, let's talk about Kirk Cousins a minute. Did you see the clause in his contract?
I know I read about it, but I actually glossed over it doing the Penix piece the other day.
They can cut him after 2 years and not have any cap hit.
Which is a smart move because he's going to be 30. He'll be 36 in late July, early August. So you figure by the time the regular season gets here, he'll be 36. After 2 years, he'll be 38. How much is he going to have left? Because the contract matures by the time he hits 40.
Yes, you're right. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. They're going to get hit for tampering. It's guaranteed. You do not sign a quarterback coming off an Achilles to a $100 million guaranteed contract unless you have insider information. Arthur Blank is the modern day Martha Stewart. He's going to Club Fed for this, and Club Fed in the NFL is you're going to lose first round picks for 2 years. Oh, wait. So in 2 years, you lose draft picks, and you have your young quarterback in the stable? Oh my God, it's a smart fucking move. I mean, we sat here and we said for the second year in a row, the Falcons took the air out of the room, and they did. And then I thought about it. And I went, they're not going to beat. This is Tampa's division to lose this year. Carolina's not ready. New Orleans is in shambles. You telling me Kirk Cousins is going to carry this team to a Super Bowl?
Not a Super Bowl, but if Tampa comes back down to earth, if you have Cousins and then you got a very capable Penix behind him, and you got another year under Bijan Robinson.
But that's what I'm saying.
Not sleep on Atlanta next year.
And I am not sleeping on them by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying is, with the pieces Tampa has in place and the pieces they added, the pieces they retained, this is Tampa's division to lose. You're going to lose first-round draft picks. You're not going to have a chance to replenish. I'm going to say it. Look at the fucking Browns. They don't have a young core to replenish. It was funny. Nick and I went to that sports bar I was telling you about Friday for lunch, and Barry was on McAfee. And I'm pretty sure McAfee put up what they gave up for Deshaun and just the haul that Houston has turned it into. Atlanta has a good young core. You only have Kirk Cousins guaranteed for 2 years. I don't think they even have him for that. I think this Achilles injury is going to come back to bite him again. And then where are the Falcons? Everybody be saying, oh, well, you shouldn't have gone to Kirk Cousins. You should have drafted a quarterback. Well, they fucking did both.
And you got a stud running back last year that shocked the world.
And you have Kyle Pitts, who is the best pass-catching tight end coming up this side of Travis Kelce.
And let's look at the most important thing that the Atlanta Falcons did is actually broke off Arthur Smith for a guy in Raheem Morris that actually will know how to use Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Bijan Robinson ran for 975 yards a year ago, which was tops amongst NFL rookies. He would have rushed for 1,200 if Arthur Smith knew what the fuck he was doing.
Agreed. Now let's take it one step further. They didn't draft anything but defense the rest of that draft.
Right. And Atlanta had a good young defense last year.
They did, and they needed.
Now you add some depth to it.
So let me put this to you here, because Mike Tannenbaum, who might be the worst GM in the history of the fucking NFL, this side of Sashi Brown, let me put it to you this way. They railed on this pick because, they need help with their pass rush. Was Latu Latu going to Is he the dynamic pass rusher you give up an 8th pick for? When the
No,
quarterback you like
because
the
I had
best is on
lots. I had Latu in the like going off the board in the high teens or maybe even like
where he
outside
went.
of the top 10 anyway. Where he went.
Okay. Was there a defensive player in this draft that belonged in the top 10 that didn't go? Maybe the kid Minnesota got?
You could make an argument that it would have been. Let me pull up the first round here again. So Latu was the first defensive player off the board at 15,
Which is
and
where
then
we thought
you
Brock
had,
Bowers was going.
and then you had Byron Murphy go off at 16,
Mhm.
Dallas Turner at 17, Amarius Mims. I'm sorry, Jared Verse went off at 19, and then Chop Robinson at 21. So for Chop Robinson to be one of a lot of people were saying one of the 3 or 4 best defenders in the draft, on the front 7, and he was the 4th option off the board, and he fell to 21.
But that's what I'm saying. There obviously was not a player that the majority of the league felt was a top 10 pick on the defensive side of the ball. Mock drafts notwithstanding, because you and I both did mock drafts when we discussed it that had a defensive back going in the top 10. By the way, Howie Roseman's a goddamn genius. Did you see what he did? They traded back up and they took the 2 top corners in this draft. They took the kid from Toledo and they took Cooper DeJean.
Nice.
Yeah. But going back to this. So I think the Penix pick was absolute fucking genius. Because when Roger hands down the tampering punishment, then the talking heads are going to be, oh, well, they don't have a plan for the future. They don't have any first round draft pick for this 2 years. Motherfucker, they did pretty damn good.
Because you got to remember, Penix's injuries, he's had a full season to recover from. Cousins is just coming off of his. Penix is 24, 25. Cousins is going to be, as we just mentioned, Cousins is going to be 36 in a couple of months.
Yeah, no, this was a very good pick in my opinion. I did take some time. It did surprise me they took Penix at number 8 because I think they could have got him later.
But that was the risk, is that if you let him come off the board, then there was no guarantee that he was going to get past the Raiders or the Broncos at 12.
They said he wasn't getting past the Raiders. I don't think. Look, no disrespect to Michael Penix, I don't think Sean Payton would want it to work with him. Bo Nix is more of the Drew Brees mold.
Yes.
Get it out quick. Throw it underneath really well. Get your guys out in space. Penix has got a cannon.
And it's the prettiest deep ball I think I've seen coming out of the draft in years.
The last pretty deep ball I remember was Dwayne Haskins. And I saw that live. Like I saw that actually at a game as opposed to just on television.
I thought Josh Rosen threw also a really pretty deep ball, but he couldn't read a defense to save his life.
He read a defense about as well as Lamar Jackson.
Beat Bo Nix twice.
Did they beat Bo Nix twice?
He beat Bo Nix twice within 6 weeks, and he beat Caleb Williams.
Williams wasn't in school when Rosen came out.
We were there for when he beat Nix the first time. We watched it. Oregon and Washington. That was the game of the day.
Oh, Penix? Yeah. That's right. Okay. I thought you were talking about Josh Rosen. I was like, he wasn't in. I was like, Josh Rosen wasn't in college.
No.
I got confused. It's 10:40 on a Sunday night.
Yep.
Not hard for me to do. So good blast, man. Good blast. Uh-oh. I don't like that face.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
Hit the button.
Whoa.
Would you shut up?
Just push the button already?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It's the YZ Translator on the Wise Guys Sports Show.
I'm forever unclean.
Well, that was damn stupid. Um, ladies and gentlemen, it is the YZ Translator. It is the favorite segment of the show because it is the last segment of the show. As always, James and I will give each other names inside and or outside of the sports world. We will come up with the first name to pop into our heads, and we will tell each other. So, James, will you please reveal this evening's header for the translator?
This was originally planned for last night, but if ever a case of the holdover ringing true,
This is now.
when will none be now?
Soon. Do you think we're being too literal? He told us to comb the desert. We're combing the desert.
We're gonna when we log off here in a few minutes, we're gonna have time to actually do something. We can change the combination on our luggage
To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
or 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's something an idiot has for the combination on his luggage.
You went over my helmet?
More like around it. How many assholes are in this joint?
No.
I can't believe it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Keep firing, assholes.
I said her cross her nose, not up it.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm doing my best. Who is that? He's an asshole, sir. I know that. And the ever popular, what's the matter, Colonel Sanders? What the hell was that? It's Baseball 1.
They've
They've
gone
gone to plaid. All right, dude, we could do this entire fucking movie.
because you know why? It's not that we're doing it for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
No, my favorite is still merchandising, where the real money's made from the movie, considering Lucas told him he couldn't do any.
I still want my Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Me too. When did we go to Disney World? My favorite part of that movie is John Hurt, the cameo at the end.
Yep.
Oh no, not again.
Check, please.
Oh my God. So, and anybody who didn't get any of those references, obviously you've never watched this before. But instead of Star Wars, because we don't have John here, we went all Spaceballs this evening. Because quite honestly, outside of "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" there's not a whole lot of quotable things other than "May the Force be with you," that kind of shit.
And if it would have been yesterday, I probably would have taken shots at both of you, and just that caption would have said, "May the dorks be with you."
Probably. It's funny you put "never play this again." We play this every week. So James, as always, I shall give you the first shot at this. And your first name in the YZ Translator is Jared Allen. Wrong button.
From what I hear, is still in excruciating pain. No guarantee he plays game 1 on Tuesday night, but man, how different a series would this have been if he actually did not go out after game 4?
Agreed. I don't think it gets back to Cleveland. I think they win game 6 in Orlando. Again, God forbid Orlando gets some interior help.
And he was actually ruled as active. It was a literal game time decision. Like, as I was scrolling through Twitter, Hayden Grove was even saying it's 10 minutes before tip off. and he's not out there taking warm-ups. He was listed as active, but was scratched at the very last possible second tonight.
Well, you sent me the text message with Jared's not playing, they're done. I'm like, dude, they won game 5 without him. Pump the brakes.
Yeah, but that was actually before Donovan's injury got aggravated a little bit more, and Paolo Banchero did not go, for 40 in game 6.
Dude, by the way, I know when I called you today, I'm going to say this on the air now. They cannot, I repeat, they cannot trade Isaac Okoro. Did you see what he did in the second half to Banchero? Oh, my God.
And
Banchero,
he still went off for 38. But then again, he had 24 in the first half.
This is what I'm saying. The only adjustment JB made at halftime was he walked in, looked at Okoro, and said, would you please guard this motherfucker?
I will say the biggest adjustment he made was benching George Niang, who was a liability in this series.
Can I ask how a guy built like Bartolo Colon is playing in the fucking NBA?
I love how Sam Merrill, on Tuesday night, I told you when we spoke on the phone, Sam Merrill went out, had a defensive lapse, took 2 shots, missed both badly. JB yanked him. He did not see the floor the rest of the night. Niang was a -9 today, and I think he was like a -12 or -13 in game 6. He was atrocious. Sam Merrill, something woke up under him, and when he hit that pull-up 27-footer from Donovan, you could tell they actually I don't want to say that was the one that was the catalyst that turned it, but that was the one where be like, yeah, they're moving and they're not stopping.
No, because like I said, I watched part of the first half, and then I watched the entire second half. But I saw Merrill's shot, and when he hit that, you could tell the arena switched.
Especially with the fact that I want to say it might have been Anthony that was closing on him when he stopped up.
Yeah,
launched it.
Yeah, and I will also say this: that Suggs dude is a whiner.
Oh yeah, he was kind of like that in at Gonzaga as well, but he's a hell of a ball player.
He is a hell of a ball player. I'll give him that, but he's a goddamn whiner. Who you got for me, Jim?
Michael, along the same route here, your first name in the YZ translator tonight after watching him the last couple of weeks now, Paolo Banchero.
He's an absolute problem. Absolute problem. I will say this. Offensively, he is a problem. Defensively, he seems to be a liability. Because again, he's like a 2-3, right? I can't tell with the way they're because the Wagner kid was definitely playing the 4 because Evan was swatting him left, right, and center.
Yeah, the older Wagner, yeah.
The older Wagner. I say that and I'm taken back to my music days. He's a defensive liability. He can't step out on anybody else but the guy playing his position. And in a series against a team like the Cavaliers, who aren't carried by their wing players, they're carried by their dynamic guards who like to take the ball to the rack. You can't be a defensive liability like that and expect to move on. So will Orlando be a problem? Yes. If Orlando gets help for him. And when I say help, I mean defensive help.
Is there a part of me that thinks if they would have actually held on today and the Cavs did not make that run, we're all sad bastard today, that Orlando could have presented a little bit more of a problem for Boston because of their length?
No, because Orlando can't play defense on the interior. Tatum and Jaylen Brown would light them up left, right, and center.
I don't know. The Wagners and Isaac look damn good out on the floor all at the same time with Banchero.
They did look very good all at the same time. The problem is, if you look at the numbers, I will almost guarantee you that Donovan scored most of his points when that team was on the floor because they can't play the middle. So now you're telling a team of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and even Drew Holiday to a point, shoot the ball all you want or drive all you want, we're better defensive on the perimeter. Boston would have lit them up. I would have guaranteed a sweep at that point in time. The reason the Cavaliers are going to give them more of a series, I think, is because of Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro, who can play defense along with give you offensive contributions. Orlando doesn't have players like that. They have a lot of one-way guys who can play zone. They have no one who can step in somebody's face and go, you're not doing shit. Because I think you're going to see one of the games that where Okoro is face up on Jason Tatum, and Tatum's going to have problems.
I mean, Tatum's going to get his, but at that point, they'd be happy if Tatum actually went off for like 25 as opposed to 45.
Agreed.
I guarantee Jason Tatum's going to get at least 240s in this series.
I'll say 235s. I don't think he's going to get 240s. I don't think he gets 240s, especially if Jarrett's ready for game 2, because he's getting a needle. If Jarrett's ready for game 2, then now you have turned this Cavaliers team into a matchup nightmare for this Boston Celtics team if Kristaps Porzingis isn't playing.
Let me check one thing here real quick.
You want to see if Porzingis is playing?
Yeah, I also want to see an update on Dean Wade.
I saw him there. What's his deal?
Wade ruled out the remainder of their first-round series, suffered a right knee sprain, sidelined him since March 13th. This was dated April 24th, so there's a possibility that Dean Wade could return for this series. And now let me double-check on Porzingis.
Porzingis is saying that they're not sure. Let's take a look. And Nesson updated a day ago. He will likely miss the second round.
HoopRumors.com said no timetable for this. He's hoping to recover at a historic rate. It's something, it's not nothing, so it will take a little bit of time for sure. Quote, I'm doing everything I can to speed it up. I want to be back out there as soon as possible, but understanding like the worst thing will probably be to re-aggravate that, so being smart, end quote.
If they go down 3-2 in this series, you'll see him try and play.
Absolutely, you will. But you're also going to see Jared take 25 needles. He'll probably take so many damn needles that he'll show up on a banned substance list. For all.
Or he'll take a drink of water and start spraying.
Yeah. And then you could probably see Dean Wade back there. Can you imagine a lineup if you ran Darius, Evan, Dean, and then mix in either Jared Morris or Tristan? None of those Celtics slashers are going to be able to go to the hole because they're going to, number one, either going to get their shot contested or they're going to get knocked on their ass.
I think you're going to see a lot of times. You all right?
I'm trying to pop my elbow.
Ooh, I hated that. I think you're going to see in this series, you're going to see a Cavaliers team that Marcus Morris and Tristan Thompson are going to play a lot. And they played a lot in the last couple games. And if you notice, in Game 5, they played a bunch. In Game 7, they played a bunch at home. You're going to see these guys be able to bang. Because remember, Horford's still there. Tatum and Brown like to go to the rack.
Yeah, but Horford in his older age now is not the inside banger that he used to be. He's now actually converted himself into more of a swing.
Yeah, no, he definitely is not what he was when he came in with Indiana. But no, he's still a force. I mean, the guy's 35, 36? And he's still doing it.
37.
Wow, I thought he was
30, and he'll be 38 if they make it to the finals.
See, I thought he was 3 or 4 years younger than LeBron, not 1 or 2.
From the University of Florida.
Was he on those teams that won? Yeah, he was. He was in the back-to-back championship.
He was the center for both of those clubs. Joakim
Noah
We're the Twin Towers on those back-to-back title teams.
Fucking Greg Oden. Anyway, so you got for me, Jim. Oh, you gave me Banchero, so now it's back to you. Haha. James, your second name in the Wisey translator is Gardner Minshew.
Football's equivalent of Tom Selleck. You lose the mustache, he loses all power.
Can I tell you my favorite part of the combine? Did you see the clip? Speaking of the mustache, did you see the clip of Chris Carter talking about the quarterback from Notre Dame?
Sam, what's his name?
Hartman.
I read about it. I didn't see the clip.
Carter told his wife he saw a male model. And she says, I thought you were working, and sent her a picture. He's running the 40. He goes, look at this. This dude ain't a football player. This dude's a male model. Look at the hair and the beard and the eyes. By the way,
But they said the same thing about Jimmy G.
no, they said Jimmy G was banging porn stars. They never said he was a male model. Oh, God. I need to take painkillers and go to bed. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh. No, what's killing me is I was on the heating pad and I brought it upstairs like an idiot.
Oh.
I could use it right now. It's bad. Like I said, I'm hurting.
Mike, let's put a bow on this. You've probably seen him on Twitter the last couple of days. Met someone pretty significant and continues to be in the news a little bit today. Your second name in the YZ translator at the behest of yesterday, Mark Hamill.
Still love him more for the Joker than I do Luke Skywalker.
Although there's one character that was better than all of them.
Cockknocker?
Cockknocker. Can I get a cut here?
Why they call you Cockknocker? Funny story behind that. The look on Silent Bob's face. Avenge me.
Yep, night.
Do you hear he won't do any more Joker since Kevin Conroy passed away? He flat out refuses.
Which is the right call.
I agree.
It's
iconic.
still weird playing my DC Universe online game because Harley Quinn was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who passed away a few months ago as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we all kind of grew up. We all remember Arlene Sorkin because she and Dave Coulier were the original hosts of America's Funniest People.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's been rough. I mean, dude, not cool. With the childhood's going away. Although apparently that X-Men '97 show is killer.
My brother says the same thing. I'm gonna start on that one because my NCIS season finale is tomorrow, and then I've got like 3 weeks of FBI, and then I'm done for the summer. I'll probably finish binging JJK later on this week, and then just move on to something else. But that X-Men '97 series is definitely on my radar.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
I was at Target the other day and I found a Jubilee pop figure, but it was in Lego style. I almost wanted to get it.
Ooh.
And it was like 97 Jubilee.
Okay. The only thing people are complaining about with this iteration of the X-Men is that Rogue don't have an ass like she did when we were kids in the show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, Jim, we got another week off coming up next week.
We do.
We do. I can't do the show from my in-laws' house, dude.
Are
That's
we doing the 18th instead?
18th. Yeah,
Okay.
it's Mother's Day weekend. I don't think the moms want us to be doing this stuff.
Ah, that's right.
Well, I'll also be in.
I'll be on vacation by then.
Yeah, and I'll be in Palm Coast at my in-laws' house, celebrating Mother's Day with my mother-in-law, one of my mother-in-law, and of course my wonderful wife, who's not happy with me because her gifts at the office.
That's going to be a short week for us too. So
It is because we're on the 18th, and then we're back on Thursday the 23rd because we're going to take Memorial Day weekend off, and then we're back on the 30th. So
we're all over the place this month.
Yeah, and it's mostly I mean, we would have had 2 Saturdays in a row, and then, no, we wouldn't have because we were on Thursday last week.
And then you figure probably come sometime next month, we're gonna maybe take a little self-imposed hiatus, just give ourselves a little bit of a summer vacation.
I'll actually know this week if it's going to be the second week of June because that's when Zachary's supposed to come down. So I'll let you know about that. But other than that, what's coming up in the sports note, dude?
Really just whatever comes down the pipe. It's like I had the Penix thing sitting for so long. I originally had it written Tuesday, and then the Cavs game hit, and then I had the high of that, and then I didn't get it posted until Friday, right before game 6. So it's whatever comes up in the pipe. I think I'm gonna tweak with the look of the blog for a little bit. I'm not going to tweak any kind of logos or color schemes or anything, but just kind of get a little creative now that we've actually got a little bit of time off here.
Yeah. And I still have no time to do Big Rican. So I honestly believe that as much as I wanted to reboot it, I just don't have the time. I don't, because now let me see this week, for instance, there's like 7 different things going on at his school. There's a late night for me working in the middle of the week. We're leaving Friday to go to her father's. Then next week, there's more crap like that going into Memorial Day, which is the end of the school year for him. I mean, it's just, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. In Georgia, school's over the week just before Memorial Day. You also go back the first week of August. There's also air conditioning in all the schools here, unlike in Ohio where there isn't any.
God, remember we had days.
Rush was god awful.
Remember the days that we had days when we had days actually postponed because the fans were not working and they didn't want to open the windows.
That was your senior year. That was my junior year.
Because remember, we also had bees outside that they didn't want getting in.
Nope.
That year, didn't we also have like 2 days canceled the year before my junior year, your sophomore year, because the furnace broke?
No, that was your sophomore, my freshman. Because that whole finals week was canceled, and then into the following week because
I know we had a blizzard, but it wasn't the sub-zero, but the snow couldn't let them
that was
for the furnace.
You know why I don't remember that? It's when I had mono. Because I was out for like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah, because I actually remember my grandfather actually had to take us to school 2 of those days, and then we actually had to figure out hey, you need to come back and get us because they're canceling classes today.
Yeah, it's starting to come back. I mean, if we would have been able to do it last night, obviously we had 4 people who went to school there on the show, but my neck and back would not cooperate as they are starting to. Dude, it's bad. When you text your chiropractor on Saturday and ask her if she's got time for you on Sunday, that's bad.
You said your neck and your back, and I'm not going to finish that statement. So,
dude, not even funny. Actually, it's hilarious.
What number?
69!
Take the number 69! It's hilarious!
I think that's going to be on the agenda next weekend. I haven't watched both of those. That actually might be at The Office later on this week.
Still boring.
Relatively, but it's just this week is going to be more so kind of housekeeping to get everything in order for when I'm on vacation next week. Because next week is going to be the first time I've taken all 5 days of a week off since probably 2019. I've taken I've done work Monday, do the heavy report on Tuesday, and then leave for the rest of the week. But I've not taken a full 5 days off in a row. And then I get the 4-day weekend next or the following weekend.
Yeah, I'm off. Let me see. I'm leaving a little bit early on Friday because we got to obviously drive in Jacksonville at rush hour. It's just hell on earth. But after that, I have the Friday before. What's its name? Memorial Day, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be working late the rest of the week, just because it's the last week of the month. But it's that second week of June, unless Zach doesn't come down, that's the first time since July that I'll have the full week. And they kind of make us do that. So, but ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in 2 weeks on Saturday, the 18th of May for episode 70. Our show's geriatric, James.
And then by early next month, we're into 75.
We might hit the century mark before the end of the year.
We're definitely going to hit the century mark by the end of the year. You figure that's only, we're 31 episodes left. Then that's going to cut it real close.
Jim, could the 2025 Wisies be episode 100?
I will sit back and figure that out tomorrow.
We will take hiatus where we need to and double up if we have to make it.
I will calculate. You will have that calculation by Wednesday.
Sounds like a plan. So everybody, thank you so much for tonight. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday. We'll see you on the 18th. And before we go, happy Mother's Day to all those out there. Jim, to your mom as well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you. And we will see you guys on the 18th of May with hopefully another special guest, but I won't tell you who it is.
We've got quite a few special guests we'd like to.
We do
this month.
We do. I'm going to send him a note tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
See you.